Good day, everyone. I am Matt Harrison, and you are listening to the Guiricast, the Malaga fan podcast for the Guiris out there. It's another Andaluz Derbi for Malaga, one of many so far this season. And after we headed east to Almeria last weekend, we have Cadiz coming east to La Rosaleda this coming weekend. Both teams sit just in the middle of La Liga hypermotion at the moment. So will Malaga take the 3 points, or will it be all yellow? And speaking of yellow, here's no yellow belly who's afraid to tell it as it is when it comes to Malaga. It's my Guiricast co-host tonight, Chris Marquez. Chris, how are you?
Mr. Matt Harrison.
Hi.
I gave you a kiss after last home win.
You did. It's quite a gentle kiss as well, if I mean.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't aggressive.
No, I'm not an aggressive kisser.
Well, no, that sort of it sort of eased me even more.
So, how many kisses do you get when we win against Cadiz?
I don't know.
I think you get one on each cheek.
Okay. I look forward to it. Hopefully, it's kisses and Patcharan all around. Maybe. Yeah. Obviously, we should say that quite a lot of the news around Malaga this week was very much the first part of the week. So Luke and Nick have done the review show already this week. So if you perhaps want the more up-to-date news on Malaga, they've already covered it. So and just go and check out that podcast anyway and hear about Almeria. I will be asking you, Chris, about your experiences in Almeria, perhaps when we go into the Cadiz part. But first of all, the only other bit of news...
It's a very strange experience, let me tell you that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, while we've mentioned Almeria, let's just do it now. Go on. How was your time in Almeria, Chris?
It all started with the road to Almeria, and I went by car.
Okay.
And it's very strange as it is all plastic you see on the road to Almeria, as it is all these, how do you call them in English?
I don't even know what you'd call them in English. It's like the farms, aren't they, where they just where they don't pay the workers like any money, and it's really
And the only thing I can say about that is it should be a beautiful road, but all these farms with the plastic ceilings,
I don't know what you call them.
Horrible.
Yeah, I've been through there in the summer, and obviously like Almeria is out in a desert pretty much, isn't it? And when the heat's bouncing off those plastic things, it's like
but then we went to the hotel where the Malaga players were, and a lot of Malaga fans. Really nice to see players getting engaged with the fans. I had to go for my ticket there. Can't tell much about it, but I went for my ticket, and then we went to the stadium because we thought we were still 2 hours before the match.
Sorry, can we jump back a second though, Chris? Who did you meet? Who did you touch at the hotel?
Oh, yes. Yeah, or who touched me as well, we touched each other. Don Alfonso Herrero.
Oh, I'm very jealous of that. Because I saw you had a photo with him and Pellicer, and I've met Pellicer a few times. And
no, really nice. Both are very nice. Even Nelson Monte took a picture with him. I'm not a big fan of taking pictures with people, but I was with my neighbors, and they literally took pictures with every Malaga player. So I thought, okay, if I have to take one picture, and they said, Chris, come for a picture. So okay, that's fine. So I thought, okay, it's Sergio and Don Alfonso Herrero, two great Malaguistas. So I took the picture with them.
Fair play. Go on.
We went to the city because we thought it's a Friday night, it's a Saturday, probably very busy around the stadium. So let's go get a parking space, because we also didn't want to walk far from the city. And when you arrive to the stadium, there is nobody. 2 hours before kickoff, there is nobody. No Almeria fans. The streets are empty around the stadium.
There's nothing much there, I believe, is there? I've still not been to that stadium.
There's a few bars around it.
Okay. Oh, well,
quite nice, actually. I saw some people from the Guiri army at a bar who said it's like a club inside. It's a very good bar. Um,
Fair enough.
this happened. No, but it was really nice. A very beautiful stadium, but just no atmosphere. Nobody's around the stadium.
Yeah.
It's very dark around the stadium. And you wouldn't say, like when you go to Malaga, if you will be around the stadium like 5 hours before the match, you already see Malaga fans around the stadium.
Yeah, of
But
course.
there's nobody.
Yeah.
Very strange.
The power horse.
Yeah. The Power Stadium from the outside is stunning.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's very stunning. The floodlights are amazing. I know you like proper floodlights.
I do.
It is a very beautiful stadium from the outside.
Hmm.
And from the inside, there's just no atmosphere.
And
Everything's very far away from everything.
yeah, and you were quite far away from the pitch that away end, weren't you? We could see it.
Yeah.
It took Antonito about half an hour after he scored to reach the Malaga fans. Well, actually, no, he didn't, did he? Because it was too wet. They were too scared because I think Kevin took a fall on the running track when he ran across it.
It's a bit of a bummer because when you go to a football stadium, I think everybody likes to see a bit of atmosphere around the stadium. And I'm not saying you need fireworks or anything, but just seeing people. And if I saw 15 Almeria fans before the match, that was a lot. So I don't know.
Yeah. Just obviously the boys covered the game. Do you want to say something really quickly on the game while you was there? Because obviously 2-0 down, pull it back 2-2. Game.
I can say what Bet Charlie said to me after the match.
Okay, name drop.
Because I was watching football with him. He was sitting next to me.
I saw.
And he said, watching football with you is a crazy experience.
All right, okay.
Because it was kind of a crazy match, wasn't it?
It was a crazy match. I took my Irish friend who had never been to the Pena bar in Marbella. It was a bit of a culture shock for him in there, I think. But he wants to go back. He loved it.
I mean, it had everything. A missed penalty.
A penalty?
A penalty, a missed penalty. Malaga losing 2-0. So a great comeback.
Yeah.
But not a great match.
No, I didn't think so either. But again, if you want to hear more detailed analysis of the actual game, definitely go and check out the review show. But I thought it'd be nice to ask since you had your in the ground experience and out the ground experience.
My first away match this season. Okay. It's horrible, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not. It is what it is. You've got a family. I've only done 2, but number 3 is next weekend, so I'm very excited about that. But anyway, we could talk about that next week. Let's talk about what's coming up for Malaga. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Cadiz game at home. But Chris, there's other parts of the club, other teams in the club that have games coming up this weekend.
Very exciting because a big weekend for Malaga as a club. Starting with Atlético Malagueño, who face a tough away game against a very informed Torre Don Jimeno, who sit 9th on the table. 9th on the table, a good inform. That doesn't make sense. Well, it does, because they haven't tasted the defeat in their last 10 games. So it's going to be a difficult match. Malagueño.
So I was going to say, Torre Don Jimeno, I can't say I'd heard of them until I saw this. So I did Google it earlier. Looks a lovely little town, actually. Do you know where it is? Because I didn't before.
I have no idea.
It's up near heightened, and I think it's a part of Andalusia. I don't really know that well, and I've only ever been to Linares up there, so I've not been to heightened yet. So it's definitely a part of Andalusia I need to see more of.
Then you could go to a match of Torre Don Jimeno.
Yeah.
But we don't... Yeah? You like?
Yeah, it's a cool name. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
But we're not supporting Torre Don Jimeno, which is a horrible name to say. We are supporting Atlético Malagueño, and they are looking to extend their lead at the top and continue their fantastic season. With themselves, have only lost 1 in 16. Those are amazing stats.
They are.
And they have only lost 2 matches this season. This game is being played simultaneously. Wow, that was horrible. That was a difficult word as well.
Oh, you nailed it.
Simultaneously with Malaga's kickoff time on Sunday afternoon. And
Okay.
then we cannot forget about our Malaga Femenino. On the other hand, are back on the Costa del Sol Sunday morning, where they will come up against third place Real Union Tenerife Tacuense. Malaga Femenino high on confidence after winning their last 3 matches.
Yes, excellent stuff. So obviously, keep an eye out for those results next weekend. I'm gutted I'm missing my trip to Torredon Jimeno now. I shouldn't have
Yeah.
Googled it this afternoon. Maybe I'll divert away from the big game at La Rosaleda, but no, of course I won't be. So let's get into talking about that game. And perhaps before me and you talk about it, Chris, we'll turn to our Spanish Segunda expert. As always, joining us to give us the lowdown on the opposition is the Spanish Segunda show's Alex Fitzpatrick. So here is he to tell us about Cadiz.
Malaga take on Cadiz this weekend. And, last weekend I'd have been saying you don't want to be playing this lot because they were 10 games unbeaten, all 10 of those games coming since Garitano took over from Paco Lopez earlier on in the season. However, last weekend they went away to Albacete and surprisingly, after that 10-game unbeaten run, lost, but didn't only lose, they lost 3-0 at Albacete, who are no mugs on their home patch themselves, but that was a very unexpected result and their first defeat under Garitano, under whom they have been a lot more functional, a lot more difficult to beat, a lot more organised. And of course, there is a little bit of quality in the forward positions in their team as well, namely in the likes of Ocampo, although he's been on the bench recently because De La Rosa, a youngster, has popped in and taken his opportunity. But notably, an old friend of Malaga, Javi Ontiveros, he has been the star man for Cadiz this season, playing either off the left or in the number 10 position in that 4-2-3-1 that they play. He's got 10 goals and 5 assists from just 20 starts this season. So 15 goal contributions in 20 starts is quite remarkable. But Cadiz's biggest issue, arguably, is up front. They haven't really got that sparkling centre forward. They've got Chris Ramos up there at the moment, who's a hard worker. He's got pace. He's tall and dangerous in the air, but it's not quite all coming together for him. At the back, Cadiz will be missing Farley, their legendary centre back. He was sent off in that 3-0 defeat last weekend. So Kovacic will come back into defence with Just, which actually has been the more regular pairing under Garitano. Maybe Cadiz are on a dip, or maybe they're just about to pick up again and go on another 10-game unbeaten run in this Andaluz Derby. But who knows? Malaga taking on Cadiz this weekend.
And thank you, Alex Fitzpatrick, as always. And as always, we will say, go and check out the Spanish Segunda show if you want to get a lowdown on the other 21 clubs in the Spanish Segunda. Plus, of course, Malaga feature in that show too. Chris, I think we'll leave the Ontiveros stuff for a moment. But I was going to say, I knew they were on a good run. And I don't want to sort of out myself here, but I know you're away. And I teased it a few weeks ago. I was at a Cadiz game 2 weekends ago, and I've got to be honest with you, I was not very impressed with them. And I was watching it in the knowledge that Malaga would be playing them soon. They looked pretty flat to me. And like Alex said then, they look functional and they played Castellón. I saw them play 0-0. And obviously when you're in neutral, you're in a stadium at 9 o'clock at night and you don't really care. Well, I did care a bit because I was quite interested, but yeah, they didn't look great. But I had quite a nice time, actually. I might have even set up a Cadiz podcast by accident, which was a football podcast speed dating, a sort of Cadiz answer to the Guiricast. I don't know what they're going to call it. What would they call a Cadiz podcast? The Cadizcast.
The Guiricast.
It sounds quite nice, actually. Cadizcast. But yeah, I don't know. Have you been to that stadium?
No.
It's
of the big ones. I'm missing 3, which are the 2 in the city of Seville.
Okay.
I didn't go there.
Yeah, I think
I'd like to go there, but I'll see myself there. The Malaga plays there because I'm not going there for something else.
Yeah.
And Cadiz.
Yeah, I think these days with my Malaga cap on, it was like a Sunday night game. I was in Cadiz anyway, so I got offered a free ticket. So I thought, well, why not? I don't think I'd go to a Seville Betis game now. I would be too conscious of that. But
how is the Cadiz? I mean, there's more atmosphere than Almeria.
To be honest with you, it wasn't like absolutely bouncing, but I do understand it was like 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. There wasn't that much to shout about. I did love the stadium though. It's very like steep, and I know the city is compared quite a lot to like a city in like South America or Central America. And I've never watched football in South America, but it looks like a ground there. It's right next to the beach. So bloody hell, it was pretty cold there actually when the sun had gone down after 9 o'clock. But yeah, it was a cool little match day experience. Walked along the beach to get there. And like I said, I met a Guiri I was put in touch with, Cadiz. I'd had a few beers by then, and he introduced me to his mate. And I go, "Soy Malaguista." Like, "Oh, you fucking dickhead." But no, they were fine. They found it funny. I could tell they were nice people. They weren't going to stab me.
They were nice people.
They didn't stab me. They laughed.
So if you have been to Cadiz now and except the 2 in Seville, which is the best one for you?
I've been to the 2.
Yeah, not counting La Rosaleda.
Of those 3?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't count Seville in as well.
Oh, what do you mean? Like, so what's the question? My favorite ever?
So Cordoba.
Yeah.
Granada.
Okay.
Almeria you didn't go to.
Yeah, I haven't been.
Cordoba, Granada, or Cadiz.
It's close between Granada and Cadiz, because I do agree with you. I'm not a great lover of Cordoba's ground. I'd probably say Cadiz actually, but I wish I'd gone. Well, there's part of me that was quite happy. It was quite sort of chill there because I just wanted a chill evening watching some football. But yeah, it's probably the coolest stadium. I can imagine it's amazing in the sun with the beach behind it, and it's all yellow and. Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to sound like I'm on a Cadiz podcast here. But the main thing I was trying to bring to this was they weren't particularly good to play, and I will come to my worrying point about Cadiz in a second. But I just thought I'd chuck in some sort of stats here because they're 14th. We are just above them. I think we're 12th. I meant to check that, but they're only a point behind us. We're on 39. They're on 38. They've scored a lot more goals than us, but they've scored 8 more goals than us on 39, but they've conceded 9 more goals than us. So, but more interestingly for me, Chris, they are the holders of the most yellow cards and most red cards in the league.
You get that with yellow shirts, do you?
yeah, it's quite that. I don't know. This, I suppose, I think they had a red card last week as well, or a double yellow card. I can't remember. But what do you think of that?
That is quite something. And another thing I saw is that, of course, we're not going to mention him yet, but there are more former Malaga players at Cadiz.
But I know, for example, I think Alex touched upon it there. I read, I can't remember which one of the Malaga publications mentioned it this week, that their defense has been like pulverized this week with injuries and suspensions. And I believe one of the injuries who was close to coming back but isn't going to make it is former Malaguista Luis Hernandez. Do I tell the story of when he shook my hand on a plane?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I was on a plane in a Malaga shirt and the team were on the plane, and he came over and he said, "Muchas gracias for traveling." Shook my hand. I said, "De nada."
That's very nice of him.
That's as far as the story goes. He was captain at the time, but he did shake every fan on. There was only 5 of us on the plane, but he did.
Do you remember a guy named Jose Matas?
Oh, is he there? I didn't notice his name, but I don't know if he's playing much for them. If he is, I might be wrong.
I don't know either. And I
With
think
was he part of our little mustache crew?
Yeah,
Thought so.
he was one of the mustachios.
Yeah, he was quite bad and then became quite good. I seem to remember.
And a player who is still a player of Cadiz, but he's playing on loan for Apoel.
Okay.
It's Ivan Alejo.
Ah, okay. But he's in Cyprus. He's definitely not available to play.
He's definitely not available to play. And then, of course, Ontiveros.
Well, I was going to say, are we going full Voldemort with him and he who should not be named the way we started? But yeah, this was the thing I was going to bring up about my trip to Cadiz. Bloody hell, he was very good when I saw them play. In the 0-0 draw, he was the only interesting thing on the pitch. He scored a brilliant goal where he took it around the goalie and took it around 2 defenders, and then it got ruled out for offside. But, you know, he didn't sprint past them. He just sort of walked past them, and he looked very good, and he looks very confident at the moment. So he's going to be the big worry on the weekend, Chris.
I also think there's no player more motivated to score in La Rosaleda than Javier Ontiveros.
He's funny though, isn't he? Because, like, obviously since we've done this podcast, he's been like, you know, enemy number 1 or apart. Well, no, maybe the third. When he was at Villarreal, he was sort of left alone, wasn't he? But the turning down, coming back, and going to Osasuna. He's always like done interviews, hasn't he, and said like sort of sorry. He's never come out and said like "fuck them" to us, has he? But
no, but that's what he thinks.
I think, you know, this is the first time I think he's played fully in like a proper bounce in La Rosaleda since, or you know, when he's really confident. So I'm quite interested to see how he reacts to the crowd this time. Well, you know, will he? I don't know, Chris. With what you said, I think is worryingly what I think is will happen. He'll be ultra motivated, or will he shit himself a bit? I don't know.
No, he will be extra highly motivated.
And what do you think?
The player he is, he has 10 goals already and 5 assists. Like, it's not only the goals; he also has 5 assists this season already.
And they're usually very good goals as well. Yeah, what do you think? If you know, because it just feels almost certain that he's going to score. Not to sort of bring it up, but do you?
I think.
Right?
Overhead kick in the 30th minute.
Oh, crikey, Chris. Put that bet on that, everyone.
That's what I think. And not from inside the box, from far outside the box, like 25 meters away from the goal. Like the most insane goal you have ever seen. Something like that. That's something I'm expecting. Or this crazy screamer from 40 meters into the how you call it, into the
top corner,
like a real screamer.
Okay, yeah, that's right, like a screamer. Yeah. I was trying to think of it earlier, but I don't know if you remember when me and Alex went to watch Malaga play Fuenlabrada in that death trap scaffolding over an away end.
That crazy away end on a temporary stand.
Oh my God, I was just happy. Malaga lost that day to they were awful. It was really, I think it was Nacho Gonzalez's last game in charge. It was that time, and I said to Alex, "I'm just happy to get out of there." But Ontiveros played for Fuenlabrada that day, and he was awful. But all I was doing for that week was chanting I knew the words at the time, but it essentially was like, "Ontiveros, you are a rat." But it was like a really catchy tune. It was like do 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 do. It's that one, but I couldn't remember the words to it, and I was trying to think of them earlier. You know, it wasn't very nice, but
I think you will remember how the tune goes this week. After Sunday next week, you can sing it to everyone on the podcast.
Well, I know the tune. I can't remember the words. That's the. But yeah, I'm sure he'll get an ear in. But yeah, I remember I've seen him play twice against Malaga away, because I saw him at Fuenlabrada. And he came off the bench for Villarreal B when, you know, in the relegation season. And he was really bad in that as well, I remember. So fair play to him for seemingly getting his mojo back from nowhere. But bad timing when we're in
But
the
he's still a Segunda player, isn't he?
True. But you could argue like his greatest season was with Malaga, and that was in the Segunda, wasn't it? So maybe.
Yeah, but he will never be like a Primera División player. How good he might be in Segunda. He's just not good enough for Primera.
Yeah, maybe. He's giving it a go, isn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look at. Actually, just one more thing. We've not really mentioned it. Actually, we should mention that this game has been dubbed a high risk match. I'm sure the first time I went to this game, the fans were mingling outside the ground fairly okay. I know in the stadium there'll be a bit of rub like with the away end, but I think it's a bit over the top. I know there's a lot of dislike there, but I don't know.
No, there's a lot of dislike. It's not over the top. Makes total sense, this.
Okay. I thought it might just be towards the naughty, but okay. I'll
towards the naughtier boys, but
yeah.
But both naughty boys don't like each other very much.
Yeah, true.
Or, well,
I even like. Obviously,
we're a Malaga football podcast, so I don't want to get too far into this.
Yeah. I was.
Spread love. When you see Matt kissing.
Yeah, well, I was speaking of Matt. I was going to say, like, I almost invited Matt Jackson, who was on a podcast, to come to Barcelona, Madrid, and I thought, even that might be a bit ropey if he's in a yellow shirt. Even with the Guiricast. No, I said that. Although, speaking of Matts, my friend from Swansea, Matt, is in Malaga this weekend, just randomly, and he's got a ticket for the game. So he's coming to La Rosaleda for the first time.
Very randomly that a friend of yours from Swansea is in Malaga this weekend and randomly buys himself a ticket for a Malaga match.
Well, it wasn't about 2 weeks ago. He said, I'm going to be in Malaga in 2 weeks. Can I get a ticket for this Cadiz game? So it was about 2 weeks ago I found out he was going. So I've invited him out in the afternoon with us, so he is going to join us in the usual haunts. I feel really guilty because it's going to rain, isn't it, by the sound of it, which will make a proper derby atmosphere. No sunshine for this one. Anyway, let's go to look at Malaga. I know the boys covered it quite a lot this week. Obviously, the big headline, apart from the result at Almeria, was the injury of Ramon. In the stadium, Chris, did you all realize straight away what was happening?
No, not that it was that bad. We saw him go off.
Yeah, I suppose.
We feared the worst already.
Yeah. I guess you were so far away from the pitch you couldn't see, but on TV, when they put the camera on his face and he looked like he was going to cry, I think we all realized that he was done for his season, which was very sad. Obviously, as well, Manu Molina's out for not quite as long, a few weeks, I think, is like hamstring injury. So the question is, Chris, in this derby game, who is going to be our midfield generals?
Not many left then.
No, there's I know the boys talked on the weekend. Yeah, I think the boys mentioned in the last podcast, they mentioned Izan Marino and sort of a wild card, but he came off the bench in Almeria, perhaps Juanpe. I know we're not huge fans, but
I have another option, maybe Aaron Ochoa.
That's not bad. I think, I suppose next to Izan Moreno, he'd cover his work. And actually, fair play to Aaron. He's, he does run around, doesn't he? He does cover the ground.
I think that's the most logical sense, because
it'd be crazy. I'm still, I know the guys mentioned on the review show. I'm still, I don't rate him, but I still think to that afternoon battle when he was amazing. I just wanted.
Could we play with Danila Rubia from the midfielder's position, like center midfield?
Again, I think we could. I just think I've not seen him play there, so.
Me neither, but I think he's a player who should be able to play there.
It would be. I think if I had a choice of those two, I'd play Aaron there more than David, or maybe both. And then to have
we also have Luismi, by the way.
Sorry, yeah, we've completely forgot about Luis.
We forgot about Luismi.
There you go, Luis. Because he's been injured so long, I forgot he came back this weekend.
If you would play with Luismi and Issa Merino, that would be too defensive for my likes.
Okay. The other
But if you play with, I don't know, Luismi and Aaron Ochoa, or maybe David La Rubia, or is Dani Lorenzo fit to play?
No, he's not fit. I think he's a long way off, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's gone a bit quiet on him. The other name that's been mentioned, and certainly not in a starting place, but being perhaps called up to the squad now, is of Rafa Rodriguez of Atletico Malagueño. Do you know much about him? Because I've seen him play, but I don't really remember him as much.
Is that Rafita?
It must be. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, that's
great player. Amazing.
Don't hold me to that.
Love him. I think the matches I've seen of Atletico Malagueño this season, wow. I mean, Chupete scored a lot of goals, but Rafita is like a hell of a player.
Yeah. I think I told you the one I really liked when I went to watch Atletico Malagueño earlier in the season was Pablo Ariaza. He was the one I really liked. He was the one that was the most like Ramon for me. But it seems there's a more of a buzz around Rafita. I think that is him, actually. Now you've said it, that rings more of a bell. That's why I was thinking, who on earth's Rafa Rodriguez? I thought I'd heard of all the big names there. But you're right. I think the exact same thing happened to me when I went to watch Atletico Malagueño. And I was like, oh, who's that guy? And it came up as Rafa Rodriguez. And then someone pointed out it's Rafita. But I think he's been training with the first team, I understand, or certainly, I don't know, there's murmurs about him. Obviously, he's not going to start the game. Well, I say, obviously, you never know with Pellicer's youth policy. And then I guess the other question, Chris, because, it's a question as old as the start of this season.
Yeah, I'm going to answer it straight away. Leave Kevin out.
No, I wasn't going to ask that. Who starts up front? Because
up front, I think we got to the point that it doesn't matter who you start with up front. It's all the same. So all the Chupa lovers and everybody who said you have to throw him in, he's very good, he will score you 10 goals. Oh, this is his moment. Well, you've seen it last weekend again. How good was he?
I felt sorry for him last weekend, though. You're right. I think the team were awful in the first half. I'm not saying he was in that team, but I don't think he had anything to feed off, to be fair. But
I think
he should start this game, no doubt.
He shouldn't?
No, I don't think so.
I think we've seen that he's not ready for it.
Possibly. Well, he has scored at La Rosaleda, to be fair. But
once.
Yeah, but that's as much as some
Rocco scored. How many goals did Rocco score for Malaga already?
I think he's on, it's either 2 or 3. I can't remember if I'm including the cup goal there, though.
And Dioni?
Oh, 5?
I have a suggestion, but I know I always have strange suggestions.
Go on.
But times like these need maybe sometimes a bit of a strange suggestion.
Hope you're listening, Sergio Pellicer.
I'm putting on my Sergio shoes or my Guede Dolce Gabbanas.
Yeah, I think Sergio's a trainer man, isn't he?
Okay.
But carry on.
I'm going to say, why not start with Lobete as a striker?
I think we have mentioned that before. I think we've, like, on the pod before, perhaps gone with Antonito up front more, but I'm sure we have suggested Lobete as well. I wouldn't be against that, to be fair. I'm like you've just said, we've got plenty of players behind, haven't we? Like, Lobete, Antonito, La Rubia, Kevin, and we'll play the 4 of them, and whoever's up front is up front. I wouldn't be against that.
Me neither.
I think we've even said in the past that why not give Kevin a go up front? But I think we have seen finishing, certainly close range finishing, not his thing.
No.
But I guess for me personally, I know. I think I said this last time. I still want to give Rocco a bit of a go. I think he's all right. I'm not, I'm not absolutely desperate to see him on the pitch, but
I mean, let's be honest. A very beautiful goal against Cartagena.
oh God, yeah. Well, and the one just before Christmas against Sporting Gijon, wasn't there? Yeah, I'm quickly trying to look. Oh, there you go. Dione scored 6, by the way. I just checking. I wasn't sure. Antonito's got 5.
And that's only 4 less than Javier Ontiveros.
Yeah, true. Do you want to know who do you think's number 3 in our goal scoring chart?
I don't want to. Who is?
There's two players. So one of them's David Larrubia, which might not surprise you. The other one's Nelson Monte, of course, with his first 3 goals of his career. That's fun, though. Get Nelson Monte up front.
Great for him, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I was going to say as well, like one of my other questions was going to be, who would you like to see behind the striker? But I suppose that's quite hard to answer if you're not sure who's going to be up front. Is there any other players that sort of, I don't know, you feel have been missing out? Or
can you tell me what's happening with Kevin? As you're the biggest Kevin.
Yeah, he's not looking confident, is he? I think, what game was it? At Cartagena away, I thought he came on and did well and helped us win that game. He wasn't not saying he was really dynamic. And I thought the last home game, he was okay. Yeah, he was not great this weekend. I think he'd lost his. I was a bit worried about him because he got a yellow card quite early, didn't he? That ref, I don't usually say it on this podcast. That ref was a disgrace on the weekend. He was.
I was too far away from the pitch. I was like 15 kilometers away from the pitch to see anything.
Well, he sort of just was giving. He set the tone with the first yellow card. I can't remember exactly the foul, but he just wasn't consistent with the fouls he was giving.
And again, a penalty that shouldn't be a penalty.
Yeah, I would say so. It was very, very harsh. I think ours was. I know I sound really biased now, but it's like, yeah, they won. I couldn't really make it out. But yeah, to answer your first question, I don't know. He looks a little bit lost. Bless him. I think. I don't know. There's moments for me where he does it, but yeah, if I wouldn't have him ahead of Antonito at the moment, and that seems to be what we keep doing. And obviously, there might be other things why Antonito's not starting games for us, but yeah.
On the other hand, Antonito's also not really great, is he?
To be fair, I think Antonito has been great, but off the bench, because I thought he was really good at Almeria, and not just the penalty, but what a penalty that was, by the way.
Yeah. Do you think he's with his head already in the south of England?
Well, the very north of England, if anything. It's Newcastle. You're pretty much in Scotland.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know, but I think he's still with us. I do. I still no. I do. I mean, like, I think his head's still with us, but maybe subconsciously he's a little bit head turned. And I think maybe as well I get why Payet says maybe not starting him, but I think maybe is a bit of frustration with not playing as much football as he probably deserves. So yeah, especially when, like you said, Kevin, to be kind to him has been inconsistent. I think Antonito must think, come on, get me out there. Yeah, but I think we've said before, I'd quite like to see him out on the pitch. I guess the one thing we've got to be excited about, Chris, and maybe to just wrap things up, I was asking you about players you'd perhaps like to see come in.
Okay.
I know the lads talked about it on the review show, but I think our left back debate is sewn up, isn't it?
That's not a debate for me.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Yeah, there's no way. He's been phenomenal in 2025 as Danny Sanchez, isn't he? And that must be one of the best Malaga goals you've seen in a long time.
It was a bit of a copy of his first Malaga goal, wasn't it?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I think it was 100 times better. He hit it so hard.
Yeah.
And and like we were 2-0 down, and it looked like, oh, here we go. This could be a long night. And then bang! I was like, whoa.
If he scores one more, He is our third best or third top goal scorer
Yeah. Or
with
joint
Nelson
first.
Monte.
He would
How
be, yeah.
cool would that be if he scored next weekend?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, and he's cool. He's obviously been a bit of a character around the squad all the time. So it's really cool to see him, probably be our best player in 2025, I would say. I think him or Lobete, but I think Danny Sanchez is probably edging it now. So,
And remember what we said about him last season.
Yeah, we always quite liked him last year. He was just a bit.
Yeah, but we thought that his substitute was better.
Yes. No, absolutely. No denying that.
We didn't see him as a first 11 player.
No, we thought he was a very good replacement for Victor when.
Yeah.
And actually, to be fair to us, and even the first half of this season, our thing with Danny Sanchez was he fights, he gives it all, and all that sort of stuff. But now he looks brilliant. Like he is playing like really good football and like bursting down the wing. His crossing's good. His shooting is good all of a sudden.
Do you think that was our best wing position? If we look to the other side with Joking and
that's a good question. No, I think like I'd say now. I still think we're a little bit more. I don't know. I guess we don't have consistent right wings and left wings, do we? So it's hard to say. But yeah, I'd say he's better than Puga at the moment. Like, that's not anything bad against Carlos Puga, who's been good as well. But yeah, they would be my two wing backs full backs, I guess.
Fullbacks, yeah.
Anyway, I think we can start wrapping things up. Chris, it is going to be a great atmosphere in La Rosaleda on Sunday. Unless, actually, I mentioned it briefly. Do you think people will be put off by the rain? Because it does sound like it might really hammer down Sunday.
Well, Matt, as you know, you are in Marbella. I'm in Benalmádena. I have seen Code Orange coming this week. Code Yellow, Code Orange. I have seen not so much rain since Monday.
We've had in Marbella today, we've had like half an hour where it's just absolutely hammered down and then stopped twice. So hopefully we can just get it all out of his system at, I don't know, 12 p.m.
If it really hammers down, Matt, that's horrible.
Oh God, yeah. If you're out in it, you're soaked for the day.
I mean, it's not like Dutch rain. Dutch rain is different.
It's not like Dutch rain.
I don't know. Can you compare it with, I don't know, Welsh rain?
Well, Welsh rain. The most sort of the rain I remember most is Manchester rain, where it seemed to come in sideways and it would just feel like ice. And it'd be windy.
But it's not so. The drops are small. This is like, I don't know. You can pour in a glass of Fanta, or you can pour in a glass of water, like easily, or you can throw the whole bottle through your living room.
I sort of get what you mean there, yeah. But yeah, so if you are coming to La Rosaleda Sunday, me and Chris, we don't work for the weather forecast company, if that's a thing.
Not yet. You never know.
So we don't know, but that's the reports here. And obviously, it is raining visitors as well, because we have lots of folk coming, like Luke, and Luke's coming. Nick is doing some crazy tour of Alicante. Well, I say crazy tour. He's doing it in 2 days. He's going to the Mestalla to watch Valencia and then going to Madrid and to Malaga. So he might be quite tired at the Malaga game. Some of the usual suspects are coming, plus my friend Matt, who I've not seen in a very, very long time.
Do you think Luke is wearing shorts?
I have asked him this already, and he said he thinks it's the first time he's never worn shorts at La Rosaleda, but then he did say he'll probably wear shorts. So I don't know. That's going to be the big topic on the next review show. Did Luke wear shorts?
If I was Luke, I would come in my swimming shorts.
All right, okay. Oh, yeah, that'd work. That's the sort of bit slow then.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. So thank you for listening, guys. Chris, I think we've probably got some little bits to plug. Do you want to plug your flags? Yeah, I was just thinking.
Feel like Sheldon.
Well, I was just thinking of your one today where you asked, "Are you
Today
from
we did Brazil. And for everybody who's thinking, why are you posting all these strange countries when there is no Malaga fans? Well, I picked the list from the people who are listening to the Guiricast. Yeah, and all these countries you see, well, people are listening from there.
I still think, though, just before you do this one, the Singapore stats, there's something not right there. I don't believe we've got that many listeners in Singapore, but sorry if I've offended our Singaporean fans there. And if you are from Singapore, hello, and tell more friends.
Yes. Wasn't your brother living in Singapore?
No, he lived next door in Malaysia.
Oh, maybe it's the connection.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Didn't think of that. Maybe it was. My brother just been really supportive over the years.
Yeah. I don't know. If you're from Malaysia, if you're from Singapore, I don't know where you're from. We are making a big Malaga map with fans. So go to our socials, search for your country. If it's not there yet, will post your country in the upcoming days. And tell us which city, village, ocean, island, desert you're from. And we put you in the map. Well, yes. Not you, but the city where you live in.
So if you're like listening in Madagascar, it's coming soon. Don't worry, it's coming. Yeah. We've got you covered. Is there anything else we need to plug?
Yes, Matt has a new podcast.
Oh, crikey, don't say that yet because it's not out yet.
Okay,
it's coming. It's coming. It's been a long. Actually, there's 2 episodes recorded already, but they can be released whenever. So yeah, it's coming. We're in negotiation. Well, I've signed a contract yesterday, and there's a lot of technical things I don't understand. So it could be out tomorrow.
It could be.
It could be. You'll see if you're listening today. But yes, it's we'll plug it when.
So follow them on bbc.com.
No,
joking. But you can follow them on their Twitter.
Yeah, there is. Go follow at Los Boyos Pod.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Los Boyos is, the first episode explains it all because it's me and previous Guiricast contributor, Mark Harrison, aka my brother. We talked about what Los Boyos is and what it is now going to be. So, yes,
very exciting.
Very exciting indeed. And we had our first guest episode yesterday, which was great fun to record. So,
and I'm still going to say something big is coming up. I can't say anything about it. They will kill me. They will bury me, or put me in the sea with, I don't know, with tons of kilos that I never get out again. So I can't say anything about it, but it's huge.
There you go. A nice teaser to finish with there. So I'll say thank you, Chris Marquez.
Thank you, Matt Harrison.
Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully see you at the rainy La Rosaleda on Sunday. If not, enjoy the game. Come back next week and listen to the review podcast, and we'll see you later. Adios and vamos, Malaga.